Hello and welcome to Virtuosity's Fireside Chat. I'm Corey, one of the co-founders of Virtuosity, and I'm here with Mary, our other co-founder. Today we want to share the power of character with you. So Mary, we often talk about character being a piece to the puzzle and the other piece being competence. Can you talk more about that relationship?
For sure, amazing that all of us know competence to be important. I mean, we spend our lives developing whatever competence that is, whatever sphere that we're in. And yet, we've really lost sight of the importance of character as the horsepower to develop the competence and really to actually take that competence and operate at its highest level. So what we want to reinforce is it's not that competence isn't important, but it's necessary but not sufficient in terms of developing well-being and overall performance.
And I like the words that you use to help us understand the difference between character and competence, and that competence is what we do, whereas character is who we are. And so at Virtuosity, what we try to focus on is who you are matters in what it is that you do. And so that's the character piece.
Mm-hmm. You know, Corey, when I think about you, obviously I had a front row seat on your life. I always noticed that you were, a high performer in the things that you did. And then there was a point at which you just really seemed to even take off to a level beyond what I even imagined for you. I would see it both in well-being and sustained excellence. And I'm really curious, because you had all that competence, how much do you attribute to all of that really improvement in performance and well-being to your work around character?
Yeah, and it's funny. So we have chatted about this before, and my answer was actually 100%. And I remember that shocking you because you thought it might be 20%, 30%, but it really has been so impactful in my life. And I think it's because even though I was trying to put my best foot forward, and we talk about this actually in some other fireside chats, so you can look to those to learn more, but talked about how really I was privileging some dimensions of character. And so I was privileging my drive, I was privileging my courage, and those were really becoming excess vices. And even though I was focusing so hard on trying to better myself, it was actually compromising a lot of my efforts. So my well-being was influenced by it poorly. And what the leader character framework helped me see was this robust set of behaviors I could focus on. And so behaviors that I was missing, like humility, humanity, and integrity, were really this power piece behind helping me be the best version of myself. And so I look at the leader character framework as this roadmap that continues to help me make sure that all of my efforts are actually leading to better outcomes rather than hurting me.
And I can totally resonate with what you were talking about. I find that if I want to call it course correction, I've been able to make around my own character, being able to elevate some of my weaker areas has really helped to ensure an elevated both sense of well-being and performance. And even still, I also feel that I think we both have been fortunate in life to have some surroundings around people for us who've had really strong character before we even got into the work around character. And not many people necessarily have that good fortune. I think one of the reasons I understood character as well as I did at the time we got into it is because I had seen it, for example, in my parents who had incredible strength of character. And therefore, it was easy not to really understand how much character was influencing even in my life up until the point that we've spent some time dedicating ourselves to it, the real power of character as being the cornerstone in so much of what I think I have experienced in life. And I think it's really important for us to begin to realize that the influential role that it can play in our lives, so that we begin to identify what comes really from strength of character as opposed to some view of, well, I'm gifted in some competence area. So it's super powerful.
Yeah, so we've both been influenced so strongly by the power of character in our personal lives. And the really cool thing though is that there's a lot of evidence to support it, and something that we really prioritize in Virtuosity is using evidence-based approaches. And so we do want to share some of the evidence-based findings around the power of character. So could you share some of that with us?
Well, research to date has just a real litany of very important performance metrics. So let's just walk through a few of them. Ones that I think in organizations we really want to pay attention to are things like employee voice. There's an 18% differential between weak and strong character when it comes to employee voice. Things like a 16% improvement in things like psychological safety. And I think we can all begin to understand why that might be the case. With a strength of character of individuals in the organization, we have more trust in one another, right? We trust people's judgment. We trust that we can have the voice and raise an issue and not necessarily find ourselves marginalized because we were a dissenting voice in things. And then, of course, we see those things connected to things like a 14% increase in leader effectiveness. Resilience is a huge area that we want to be thinking about, and there we see a 10% increase in resilience between leaders with weak and strong character. We've talked about well-being, and think about the fact that if you could develop strength of character around that, you'd be looking at an 8% improvement around well-being. Organizations will certainly want to be interested in this because we see a 10% improvement in things like job satisfaction, 8% increase in work engagement. And Corey, those are just a few of the really important metrics that can help us understand if we worked on developing character, we could really move the needle on so many personal and organizational metrics.
Yeah, and I think that ending part is really the power that we try and bring through Virtuosity, is that your character isn't static, that it can be changed. And so when we provide, what we try to do in Virtuosity is give you those tools, that day-to-day focus that enable you to reap the benefits of all that evidence that we just shared. And so we hope that the combination of our stories and the evidence that we've shared inspires you to think about how character could play an influential and really powerful role in your life. And of course, all of our stories will be different. Your story was different from my story, and so the way that character may influence your life could be quite different too. But we do know how powerful character can be. Is there anything else you want to share before we close off today?
I think it's just the sense of we may underestimate that sense of who we can be. When I've watched people developing character, I find that it's like a rose that just opens up. It's an incredibly amazing and beautiful potential. And then I also feel it is this a little bit every day goes a very, very long way in terms of the development of character.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so who you are always matters in what it is that you do, and we hope that you're inspired to look at how powerful character can be in your life. Thanks for tuning in to our Virtuosity Fireside Chat. Bye for now.